So over the course of the last several months or so, we have known that Jeff Wagner was going to retire and that things would shift a little bit here on WTMJ after Jeff and his quarter century of broadcasting, just an amazing Hall of Fame career. But we do have an announcement to make here on WTMJ that the next, I guess, phase of programming is been determined.
Absolutely, Greg. This is something that we've heard from fans for quite a while. Jeff Wagner's final show was December 15th, and since then, people have rightfully been asking, what does the next generation of WTMJ look like? And we're happy to announce that this morning. Before I get into the daily lineup, I will say that, here at WTMJ, we take our role as not only Wisconsin's largest radio station, but also Wisconsin's largest news talk station and news talk station of record very seriously. And with that in mind, we have made the decision to lean more heavily into what we do best, and that is deliver the news, whether it's in the morning or the afternoon, or, as you'll soon hear, during the midday. So our opportunity here to refocus on what WTMJ is and to really hone in on how do we serve Southeast Wisconsin, how do we serve our fans, how do we serve the entire state of Wisconsin best, and the decision was made to lean again more into news programming and a little bit more away from our talk side of what our split personality is in radio. So without further ado, the lineup for WTMJ starting on Monday, February 19th, will be as such. From 5 a.m. to 6 a.m., the Midwest Farm Report, hosted by Pam Jahnke, will be coming to the WTMJ airwaves for the first time. If you are an early morning broadcast listener, you've heard Pam hosting her show, the Midwest Farm Report, for several years now on stations across the state, and we're very happy to add her to the lineup here on WTMJ. 6 a.m. to 9 a.m., despite what you're hearing today, will still be Vince Vitrano and Erik Bilstad hosting Wisconsin's morning news. From 9 a.m. to 10 a.m., you're going to start to see a shift a little bit. Steve Scaffidi will still be rocking the airwaves at 9 a.m. He will be hosting a show that we've dubbed the Political Power Hour. If you listen to Steve at any point during the week, especially on Fridays, you've noticed he's had Bill McCoshen and Joe Zepecki on the show for every Friday for the past several months, with a focus on local and national politics. We're taking that idea of that segment and expanding it to a 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. 5-day-a-week show. So starting on 2/19, you'll hear Steve Scaffidi diving deep into the world of politics with politicians, special guests, exclusive interviews, journalists, people of the ilk who are in and around the political landscape, as Wisconsin is such a power player as we head into November. Coming up at 10 a.m. to 11 a.m., the first new voice you'll be hearing here in the WTMJ studios at the Avenue, Jeff Sherman, will be hosting a show we've dubbed the Upswing, and it's going to be a look at the business climate across the state of Wisconsin. Not just business leaders, but taking a full 360-degree view at what business commerce looks like and how that ties into our everyday lives here in the state of Wisconsin. So that the Upswing will be from 10 to 11. 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., we talked a bit about adding another touch point for news. Wisconsin's Midday News, hosted by Greg Matzek, and he'll be joined by Jessica Ty, formerly of CBS 58. Again, when we get back into the idea of what do we do best, and that's news programming, we had someone extremely talented right here in the studio, and someone who I have loved working with for the past 8 years here in Greg. You've gone from specializing in the world of sports to broadening your horizons and diving into the news world. So from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., Greg Matzek will be on your airwaves with Wisconsin's Midday News. From 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Monday through Friday, Kristin Brey will be joining the station. You've heard her a few times over the past couple of weeks, joining the afternoon show, Greg, with you and John, talking about some of the bigger issues in the state of Wisconsin. She will be exploring the state and spanning the state, if you would, by interviewing newsmakers. And when I mean newsmakers, I mean reporters, mayors, county executives from across the state of Wisconsin, as we look to better serve the state of Wisconsin and not just talk about stories that matter to what's going on in our fans across the state. It's going to be actually delving into how those stories are impacting the community. And with Kristin's work in the digital space and what she's been able to do with the As Goes Wisconsin brand and doing our own radio show for a while. We wanted to give the opportunity to really kind of look across the state and connect with people who you may hear from a little bit here and there, but really get behind the scenes on some of these stories. From 3 to 6, Wisconsin's Afternoon News will continue to be on the airwaves. John Mercure will be your host for that show, as he has been since 2012. Joining him as the co-anchor for that show will be Julia Fello, formerly of TMJ4. We're very excited for the opportunity on that show to deliver the headlines and interview the major newsmakers, but also be able to look a little bit deeper into the stories and use some of that investigative background from both Mercure and Julia Fellows' backgrounds to dive a little bit deeper into the news. From 6 p.m. to 7 p.m., Sandy Maxx will host What's on Tap. That will be her hour-long show that you've heard here since November, focusing on arts and culture and the intersection of how that blends with our community across the state. So she will be on the air 6 to 7. 7 to 9 p.m., Brian Noonan will be your host of WTMJ at night. He's been the host of WTMJ nights for a while now. It'll be a refocus of that show a little bit to focus more on the news headlines, told in a bit of an irreverent way. So we're very excited for this new lineup. I'm sure there will be tons of questions, and I'm super happy to answer them. But again, as we look into the next phase of WTMJ, into what does audio look like, what does radio look like as we move through the mid-2020s and beyond, we wanted to lean again into our excellence and our ability to cover the news. So we're very excited for the new lineup on WTMJ. We hope you stay with us and look forward to what we're going to be launching here on Monday, February 19th.
Yeah, a lot of new voices and new focus. And no, this is not the new morning show on WTMJ, Greg and Mike. At least I don't think it is, right?
No. We thought about it. We thought about it.
Vinny out with his family in Orlando and his daughter's cheer competition. Erik taking a much-deserved vacation. He'll be back next week as well. And then we get off the ground and running here, February 19th, as you mentioned. So, the evolution of WTMJ is coming.
Yeah, absolutely. For a station that's been around for nearing 100 years, this is just the latest iteration of what this station looks like. And if you look through our history, you can see how we have evolved to live with the times. And this is just going to be what that next evolution looks like. And just beyond what's going to be happening on the airways, which will be a lot, we're also going to refocus in the digital space and what that looks like and be able to meet our fans where they are. So if you find your news via your phone, we want to be there for you. If you find your news via the broadcast airwaves, we want to be there for you as well. If you find your news via YouTube, we're also there as well. So we're very excited.
Well, every show is broadcast in so many different ways today, including on our live stream. You'll be able to continue to do that. Of course, a lot of podcasts as well. So if you loved a particular show at a particular time and things are moving or the cast is changing a little bit, all good. Our podcast page is rich and will be developed as these shows get up and running. So very excited here. Good news.
Absolutely.
Fun stuff.